Natural talent, a trait that many great players are born with. The same can be said for a player like Brahim Diaz. Brahim Diaz, where his story begins, in Malaga. Malaga took him in when he was still a child. He caught the eye of many big clubs with his great dribbling. He was on the shorter side, but they saw he had massive potential, and he was playing in the youth team of Isco, who was playing in the first team of Malaga. He claimed Isco as his idol. Isco was a rising player back then, and he was a role model to Brahim Diaz. But then Manchester City saw the talent of Brahim, signed him to play in the youth team. In there he would meet players like Phil Foden, Alexander Zinchenko, and Jadon Sancho. Brahim played extremely well, so much so that he got called up to the first team on multiple occasions. He did perform well, but he would feature in mostly Carabao Cup matches or playing in the Premier League, but only getting a limited amount of minutes at 17 years of age. But in pre-season, which was one of the biggest moments of his career, it was a match against Real Madrid. He came on as a sub. He immediately made a stamp on the match.
Brahim Diaz, Sterling support, still Diaz!
So scoring against Real Madrid, what a moment for him, and in the fashion that he did it, he immediately was catapulted into a player who Manchester City would use a lot. But his time came in 2018-19. This was a career-changing season for Brahim Diaz. Not just because he was on the verge of breaking into the Manchester City team. He was playing much more games, scoring his first goal for the club. He was outperforming all of the youngsters. This is also during the time when Phil Foden was also breaking into the first team. It seemed like those two were destined to break into the team. With Brahim playing solid with his great dribbling, he linked up with Manchester City's team as if he's been playing there for many years, and Pep Guardiola was impressed. Therefore, Brahim was set to play in the first team for that season. But then, a call came in. One of Brahim's biggest dream clubs, Real Madrid, where his idol Isco played as well. He got a call to join Real Madrid on a 5-year contract. And knowing that Brahim was set to play with his idol Isco, he did not hesitate. He took that opportunity and immediately was being put into that squad. This was during the time in which Real Madrid were struggling, but they were signing a lot of new young talents like Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, to be the future stars of the future. Brahim slotted into the team, but he was mostly a bench player, and to make such a jump, to go from a prospect that is breaking into the Manchester City team to now having to play for a bigger club that is more high demanding, trying to break into a first team of Real Madrid. He played well for his first 2 seasons. He did not get that much game time due to there being a lot of good players in the position he was playing. He was far too young and way too inexperienced. He was not on the physical level of La Liga, and therefore they sent him on loan, on a 2-year loan, away from Spain to one of the most physical leagues in the world, Serie A, the Italian league known for its great defensive plays. Brahim then had to make his way into AC Milan, a big club, so he had to fight for his place, and he did just that. He performed extremely well, showing his dribbling skills, showing his goal scoring skills and assists. His first season was very good, and this brought him to the next season, in which they gave him the number 10 jersey. A big honor for Brahim. He took that jersey, playing as a number 10, but his second season was a big season for AC Milan, but I wouldn't say that it was his best season. He was very inconsistent. He was not showing the same quality he showed in the previous season, playing inconsistently, only having 8 goal contributions in 47 games, poor numbers. So he lost a bit of trust from the AC Milan fans. But AC Milan did win the Scudetto that season, so that was a plus to take from that season. Real Madrid was still not impressed with his loan move. They then decided to extend the loan for an extra season. And this is when we saw Brahim play at his best. And also, he looked very different. You could see the evolution in this player. Physically, he was way bigger. You can see that he refined all that and worked extremely hard to perform better. This leads us to the 2022/23 season, his last season in AC Milan. But he was performing well, scoring important goals, and he had 14 goal contributions for AC Milan in that season, and also leading the club to the Champions League semi-final. That was one of his best seasons. AC Milan wanted to keep him permanently, but unfortunately, Real Madrid wanted him back. They wanted him back. They saw that he has grown much more as a player, making him sign a 4-year contract until 2027. He returned to the Spanish capital, and he was brought in to replace Marco Asensio, who left the club. But fans were not having it. They said that he is not a good Asensio replacement. They said he would not be good and that he's too inconsistent. You could not expect anything less from Real Madrid's fan base. Way too reactionary. But Brahim, when he started off, very good in training. Brahim was exceptional in training. But the thing is, his performances in pre-season were poor. Were so poor that he was getting benched when the season became official. He was getting benched a lot during the season, in which obviously he was upset that he wasn't getting game time. Getting featured in the last 10 minutes of the game, which is not ideal for an attacker to make the most of. But then his chance came. It was against Las Palmas. Jude Bellingham had a small injury, therefore he couldn't play for that match. Real Madrid then slotted Brahim to play in his position, and let's just say Brahim performed extremely well. Good plays, good dribbles, even scoring a goal. This goal led to him getting more trust from Ancelotti. Then we saw Brahim feature more, but Bellingham was shining, so therefore Brahim couldn't play that much. But then Vinny Jr. got injured alongside many other players. Brahim was fit and was given a lot of opportunities starting each and every game. This is when we saw his true talent, scoring in games against Granada. Villarreal is when he scored one of his best goals of the season. Dribbling from the halfway line, toying with the defense, and then scoring a goal. His performances carried on, scoring vital goals in even the Super Cup against Atletico, scoring in the last minute. Iconic goal for Brahim Diaz. Real Madrid couldn't believe it, the fans couldn't believe it. Many of the fans were taken back what they were saying about him, because he was just exceptional. Against Leipzig, in the second half, got the ball, dribbled 5 players, and then scored a Messi-esque goal, a Maradona type of goal. This version of Brahim is probably the best we've ever seen, and I thank Real Madrid for taking the time with this player, and his evolution has been great. You can see this is a completely different player, and he's balling at the moment. Phil Foden, who was his youth academy player, balling for Manchester City. Zinchenko, balling for Arsenal. This just shows they were all destined to break into the Manchester City team, but they went their separate ways, they went different ways. Still, each of them have made it, and I would love to see a Manchester City against Real Madrid match in which they could reunite. But if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe.